Okay, so we're back. This is the third time we've said that, and
I
in every
know. Well,
episode.
if I remember correctly, the last time we were like, "You'll hear from us when you hear
Yeah.
from us." So
We
you're
have
hearing
been
from us.
we haven't even seen each other.
I
So like, if
know.
you guys want to know that, we
Yeah.
saw each other once in the last like 2 months.
November, December has been like crazy busy. Like
Okay,
I don't even know.
If you have gone through December and have not gotten sick, then I don't. Then you've been blessed by God, because
Tell me
every
your
single
secret.
person has
Tell me your
been
secret.
sick that I know.
I know, and like there are reports coming out saying that the amount of colds and flus going around are like ridiculous, like worse than COVID numbers. Not in terms of like deaths and stuff,
I 100%
but
agree with you, because
yeah.
I have never seen this many people, even during COVID, that have been sick. Like, and I know it's like flu season, but like this isn't even the flu. Like, I don't even know what is happening to
Yeah,
people.
because we both had something.
Yeah, I was out for like
You were like
3 weeks.
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I was only out for like 5-ish, 6-ish days. But like I think you got sick like during your vacation to London. So
Yeah.
you were like, all right, I gotta fight through this and just party still. So I don't know if that contributed to you having a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
how was London?
Okay, so we went to a couple places. So
Sounds like you're from London.
London was amazing. I loved London. It was so much fun. So I went there for Thanksgiving until like December 1st or 2nd or something.
Nice.
Fabulous. It was straight out of the movies. So you see the
Awesome.
movies, that's exactly what it's like there.
Very cool. Did you feel any connection with New York?
I thought you were gonna be like, do you feel like when Peter Pan takes the kids to the Lost Boy? Like,
that was a very specific prediction of how you thought I would imagine. No, I was just saying, like, connecting it to New York, did you feel like, oh, I kind of get where the British contributed to New York in any way, kind of a little bit?
No.
Or they feel like completely different places?
They feel like they have the same culture, like same kind of vibe, because they're both like big cities and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's only one part of like England that I went to that felt New Yorkish, because it had like skyscrapers and stuff, and that felt exactly like the financial district, like,
okay,
which is like old time.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
That area of the old part of Manhattan that British ruled over kind of reminded
like
you.
how there's just like random streets everywhere that don't make sense.
No grid.
Yeah, no grid.
Off the grid.
Off
it's a
the
little
grid.
chaotic.
Yeah. But we went. My favorite part was, which shouldn't surprise anybody, was we did like this old pub crawl at the last day that I was there, and we went to a bunch of like pubs that were like 400 years old, and
nice.
It was really cool. Like,
very cool.
Yeah. And you went to?
Yeah, I went to Puerto Rico. That's where my abuela on my mom's side is originally from, and we hung out in this area called Luquillo, which was a very much beach town, which was awesome. It was very cool. Like, the hashtag for us was like, I heard it's snowing back in New York.
Yeah, I saw it multiple times on Instagram.
It just felt really nice to have a break from the cold weather and just like basically have a little summer vacation within
welcome back.
winter.
It's freezing.
That hit
freezing.
me. It's brick. I was like, wow, okay.
I think as I got older, I became such a summer person. Like, I don't even care if I would like melt to death. Like, I need the summer. Like, this
really
is
more of a
miserable.
summer.
Yeah.
I actually. I need the change of the change of seasons, because for me it's like I can't appreciate the summer without the winter. I can't appreciate the winter without the summer. But whenever you go and have a dramatic change, it does sort of hit you.
Yeah.
Like when I was stepping out of JFK, I was like, okay, it's not the summer anymore.
I was talking to somebody recently, and they were talking about where their like ideal location is to live, and they were like naming a bunch of things, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, and that needs to be a 4-season, and I was like the
hotel. I need to live in a 4 seasons.
So now anytime someone's like 4 seasons, I'm like the hotel and resort.
That's a really interesting,
very specific request
place
where you need to live.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Diana.
And we're 2 queens in a pod.
Cast. And we are 2 queens from Queens, giving you the Queen's perspective. And today we are going to celebrate 100 years of Rockette.
Listen, we know the season's over. We get it. We get that people are sick of Christmas and Christmas is over. And I loved our justification of doing the Rockettes, because you're like, well, it's sisterhood, and we're 2 queens, and this is a new year that we're like celebrating being sisters.
Yes. So we made it work. But I just felt like we, like, as you know, we missed a lot of our episodes during the Christmas season. This was something we did want to do last month, but why not start the new year reminiscing a little bit about last year?
And we have a special little thing for you later. So
yeah, you could even call it a special guest. Yes,
maybe.
Imagine us having a guest on this show. Let's see. Okay. So they are celebrating 100 years of sisterhood, precision, and athleticism. And if you can't do the math, they were founded in 1925. And I actually think you brought this up last year in our Rockefeller tree lighting episode, that the Rockettes did not start here in New York in Rockefeller Center. They actually started in St. Louis, Missouri. And the original choreographer was Russell Marquardt. And the theater owner who was part of their launch in Missouri was called S.L. Roxy. Rothafel is his last name. And in 1932, they relocated to New York City through the Roxy Hotel, because I guess the owner got a theater here in New York and was like, all right, let's bring our dance troupe over here in New York City.
Well, I was looking, because like you said, there was a Roxy Theater.
Exactly.
And I was looking it up, and we've talked about this before. I think was about like the Long Island Railroad station. Was that it? The one that was like beautiful and they knocked it down?
Pennsylvania. Well, it's Penn Station, but the original, the OG Penn Station.
So this Roxy Theater was, when it was built, was the biggest theater in like the world. And I don't know, like I saw, like you can only see pictures because it was like from like literally like the early 1900s.
Yeah.
But it looked crazy, and I was like, how did they knock it? And they knocked it down, obviously, to build like the MetLife building.
Wow.
But another one bites the dust as far as like culture of like old architecture.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry to cut you off,
beautiful
but I thought that was
theater.
interesting.
Yeah, but on that same note, because this theater owner brought them to New York at this theater, he decided to rename the Roxyettes, which, in my opinion, really does not roll off the tongue the way.
Yeah.
Fail. Party foul. And then they eventually got their name switched back to Rockettes, and that was around the same time that their home became the Radio City Music Hall. And their debut year of their big main show was in 1933, and that was their Christmas Spectacular. And so that's kind of the beginning of the Rockettes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the so the inspiration for where the Rockettes, I guess, came from was originally inspired by the Tiller Girls. And this was a dance company out of the United Kingdom, specifically Manchester, and it was established by John Tiller in 1890. So the Tiller Girls were really popular in the UK, and they were the high kicks, the same exact thing, but this was like originated before the Rockettes originally. Yeah. And they traveled to the United States to do performances.
They were like,
and
touring.
That's when the person you mentioned was Russell Marquardt.
Yeah, Marquardt.
He saw them and was like, I can perfect this in America.
Yeah, like I want to make
in America.
In the Americas.
In the Americas.
Well, no, it's kind of interesting because I feel like a lot of the research we do is people getting inspired by things that are happening in the old world, so to speak, like in UK, and be like, all right, well, let's just make the American version of it.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. So the Tiller Girls, John Tiller, I guess like what he was thinking of was that like dancers they're not as organized as he wanted them to be. And he was the one apparently that was like, if the girls link arms, they'll be more synchronized. And that's how like the linking of the arms and the
came
kicks
about. And the kind of uniformity
it forces you to be one.
Yeah, that's cool. And then I think this is a good time to bring up this idea that the Tiller Girls and then now the Rockettes, they are all precision dance companies.
Right, yeah.
And actually the Rockettes are the longest running precision dance company, so bye-bye Tiller Girls.
Well, a lot of the Tiller Girls and Rockettes overlapped in the beginning. Like, a lot of Tiller Girls became Rockettes.
That makes sense. Yeah. They were like, let me live in the States and do my
New
thing.
York City.
It's my time. But essentially, precision dance is a distinct style or approach. It's not technically a dance genre, but it's like an approach which blends ballet, jazz, and tap. And the emphasis is on unison movement, sharp lines, exact timing and flawless execution, which it seems like this Tiller guy was the one who sort of invented this approach to dance.
Right. Do you, so all those things you named, jazz, ballet, what was the other one? Tap, and modern, is that what it is? What's the other
Not really modern, but mainly ballet, jazz, and tap are like the main things.
So do you feel like you have the ability to be Rockette, or no?
I would say no. But actually, I wouldn't make the height requirements.
All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Or I mean, we can bring it up now.
Well, there's two different ones. There's the early stage, which makes me...
I would have made it in the early stages.
Okay, say with the early stage.
So me, like in a past life, I could have tried.
Yeah.
But going back to
they accepted you though because you're like not fully white.
I mean, I'm white presenting at least. I mean, yeah. So that I think something about that comment is like I think it's important to remember like things existing in certain times where like how do I say this?
That people were racist.
Pretty much, yeah. And like the rationale between not having diversity in the past for the Rockettes was rooted in like, well, they all have to look the same, and it's like
and that lasted a very long time.
It did.
A very long time.
It did. But like they definitely have made, we'll jump around a little bit. Why not? Should we wait? I got cut off. Are we talking about
the height requirements?
So there's diversity in height, and then we jumped a little bit to diversity in race.
Okay, so back in the day you had to be white.
Yes. But not only that.
You had to be
in the early ages the range was very short. Was very small. You had to be between 5'2" and 5.6 and a half in the very early stages.
I wouldn't have made it. Not in the early stages.
No.
Yeah.
I could have. I could have. That would have been a good time for me.
Were people just shorter?
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I also think maybe men may have been intimidated by tall women back in the day. They're like, we can't have these ladies taller than us. I don't know.
Well, remember when we went to the Met? This is going so off topic. But
That's okay.
we went to the Met and
we jumped the shark.
Okay, shark or the ship?
Jump the shark, you know the saying?
No, I've never heard of jump the shark before.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the origins of jump the shark. It means like we're going off the rails. In Happy Days, the show was going for a really long time, and there was one episode where the Fonz tries to be like Evel Knievel and then jumps over a shark, and that's when like the whole series really just kind of started going off the rails. So that's the saying. So like,
the saying is like
specifically
for Happy Days, jumping the ship and jumping over a shark.
It's just jump the shark.
Okay, nobody says that.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Fans tell us it's a well-known saying, at least in the TV theater world.
Okay, all right, I believe you.
But you were saying.
Oh, when we went to the Met, one of like what we thought was the most fascinating exhibit, and I think it's a permanent exhibit, is like the armory and armed like from the medieval times, and we would look at the armory and like the armor, and it was like engraved, and we would be like, wow, this is like crazy, like detailed, and we're like, but it's so tiny, like the armor's tiny, so like people, I think we're tiny back then. Tiny people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the numbers, but I do get the sense that people were smaller back then. Definitely. I also think
because like your like adult age was like 16 to 25 and then you died. So like you're just generally smaller because you're a teenager?
Yeah, and there's a sense of malnourishment and all of that. But coming back to the early days of the Rockettes, the height requirements were 5'2" to 5'6" and a half. Then I think probably what happened is like that's probably the average height of a woman, so it was just easier to find women that way, and they wanted them to look uniform, so it was probably just easier for them to find that group of women.
That's like, oh, that's the average.
Yeah, woman. But I mean, if I gotta be honest, I just think longer legs looks beautiful aesthetically.
Yeah.
So I'm not, even as a short person, I'm not mad that they changed the height requirements, because I think it just does add to the picture and the beauty of the Rockettes.
Well, I kind of have something that's interesting, like a fun fact that I would have said at the end, but you make a good point of how, you have the long legs, right? So every single costume like all the Rockette costumes are tailored to that specific dancer because of the long legs. So say like your leg proportion and your torso proportion is just different because every human being is different. They have to they have like a certain measurement type thing where like every length of like their dress skirt needs to be the exact same. So that's not going to be the same for every person whose leg length might be different than other person.
So if
every single outfit is tailored to the specific
exact
dancer. Yeah.
And that's interesting too, because like, let's say you're one of the dancers who maybe has a shorter torso and longer legs. Mm-hmm. Your line, or I would think like your bikini line is a little lower to match the people who have longer torsos and shorter legs.
Yep.
I mean, talk about precision.
Looks exactly the same. Exactly, 100%.
But again, going back to the height.
Get over the height thing, Diana.
But this goes to your age where soon after the beginning one, it was 5'6" to 5'10" and 5'10" and a half. And then from 2025 to now, it's gone to 5'5". So you could be 5'5" and try out for the audition. Yeah. Just to finish that thought.
All right, bye. It was really...
That's all we have.
That's all we have for today.
No. But an interesting thing, too, kind of in the same light of the costuming, the way they do set up the dancers because they are different heights is they put the shorter people in the middle and the taller people to the ends. And I think they angle them out a little bit so that from a far distance they all look like they're the same height.
Okay, yeah.
So this is their way of being able to embrace diversity within, while also holding the integrity of the unison and the and keeping that uniformed look going.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have, but then you also brought up like diversity in terms of like race and ethnicity. That'll bring us to like earlier times.
Yeah, but I wanted to say one more thing about the way that things used to be at Radio City Hall.
Okay,
so
cool.
Up until 1979, which seems like not too long ago, there was a movie show format that was shown, and so this was at Radio City Hall. So the theater would have four shows a day. And then after the show would be like the performance part. So after like the dancers would come out after the movie and do like their little song and dance. So at that time, they were performing from sometimes 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. depending on like the way the shows went. They would work 3 weeks straight. So 4 times a day, 3 weeks straight, and then have 1 week off. Like that was like their
schedule.
What the heck?
That's crazy.
That is crazy. It's crazy now, like their schedule too, but like insane.
No, it definitely is. It's funny because I actually went to see the show this year, and my mom was reminiscing of her being a little girl and saying like, "Oh, when I came, we watched the movie Bye Bye Birdie."
Look at
and
that.
Then the Rockettes performed, and I was like, "What? They just showed a movie?" And they were like, "Yeah, you have to understand that like back in." And she was able to remember the year, and we looked it up, and it was like 1975.
Wow.
And it said like,
okay,
the Rockettes performing after Bye Bye Birdie. But like you have to remember that a movie was like cutting edge technology. Like that was like a really exciting thing to like. I dropped all my notes.
Weren't relative.
It was a really exciting thing to watch, and so it was just kind of funny to like be able to place my mom at that time. You know, like watching it back during like the movie era.
Bye Bye Birdie. Did you say that you were the dancing girl who can't talk?
Oh,
we've talked about how we did Bye Bye Birdie at the Spring Theater in Mary Louis Academy.
Yes, the spring musical. Yeah. Actually, funny story about that. I had been auditioning just for dance roles, and then junior year, I was like, I want to try a singing role. And I auditioned for a singing role for Bye Bye Birdie. And you know what they give me? The sad girl who isn't supposed to say anything at all. So I got the hint. They didn't like my singing. Oh. Not that I blame them. I really don't. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all.
There's 36 dancers that are at Radio City Hall, and that is down to like the length of the stage. They fit 36 dancers. That's why that number is. And 36 also could be divided. So like, you know, when they do like the 4 and the 4 and they make like just do that whole thing.
It's really just like very geometrical. There's a lot going on.
And then they have, I think they have, how many Rockettes are there? There's like 90 something, right?
I think it's like 80 something, but they have 2 sets of casts. So like they
so that
share.
They don't go with every show, obviously.
And then I think there's like 12 swings, which basically means like
alternates.
Yeah, right, like if someone's out, they could go in. So it's a whole big operation.
Yeah, that's a lot of Rockettes.
Yeah.
And they kick up to 650 times per show.
650
yeah.
times.
Yeah, that's a lot of kicks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah.
They are like athletes, I'm telling you that.
That's a word that gets thrown around a lot. Like I watched the CNN documentary of 100 years, and like athletes is thrown around a lot. Like it because, I mean, we didn't talk about this yet, but like these people, like the Tiller girls and then the Rockettes, like they were trailblazers of just like, you talk about men's sports or like men athletes. Mm-hmm. There's always like that like how they're so stigma. Important, and then women do it. But like this is something that men just can't do. No. You know, and like this is like a athleticism to like the top tier of like women doing like just like badass shit.
And there's also this when men do athletic things, like they just could get like down and dirty and get rough. But women, a lot of the time, like not only do we have to be athletic, we also have to make it look.
You have to be this is perfection at its core.
And
this is precision
and
dancing.
We have to make it look like it's easy too. Yeah. Like male sports, like you could be like, oh, you could show your struggle, whereas like what Rockettes are doing is like they're just saying like and like looking just so composed,
smiling through it,
and just being like, I could do this all day. And I think that takes a lot of like mental strength as well.
I know.
And on that note, Rockettes haven't only been strong in their athleticism, they've been really strong in their activism too, and being able to outreach to like groups of people in the past. Let me just explain this a little better. In 1933,
I'm like, what?
They were, but like. They've been activists in a lot of ways and like civil servants in some ways. So they actually in 1933, no, sorry, I lied. In 1940s during World War II, they became the first performers to perform with the USO for troops who were in the war. So like they went out and like helped give joy and happiness to some like.
They were like Bob Hope.
Exactly. Bob Hope.
Didn't he do like the comedy shows for like the military?
Yeah. So like it was this way of like helping their souls during a very like stressful and upsetting time. And then also in 1978 they helped Radio City Music Hall from getting destroyed. Like, you know how you were talking about the Roxy?
They love to destroy these things.
Yeah, and so the Rockettes were like, no. Like, not only... And it felt like that sisterhood thing of, like, not only is this going to help us maintain our jobs and our presence here at Radio City Music Hall, it's going to help generations of Rockettes in the future to have jobs and be employed. And so they were advocating that, and they actually were part of the mission of giving landmark status to Radio City Music Hall. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing that they did in their past. And then going to the idea of diversity, up until this point, up until the 1980s, they really did lack diversity. And the first non-white Rockette was Setsuko Maruhashi, who's a Japanese-born dancer. And so she, in a lot of ways, broke the color barrier of the Rockettes. And then the first 3 years later, the first African-American Rockette was Jennifer Jones. And she made her debut at the Super Bowl 22. And it was a big celebration to kind of just be like, as long as we're all kicking at the same length and our uniforms and our costumes are set up the right way, like, people don't care if our skin tone is slightly different. Like, people are going to still see that precision. They're still going to see that uniformity. And in any way, it kind of makes it even more impressive to be like, it doesn't matter what color you are, like, we're going to just look like a group of sisters here doing our thing.
That's what I would want to see.
That's what I would see.
I was very curious about the red lipstick. I was like, does everyone have the same shade of red lipstick? And I did look it up. And this kind of goes to diversity of that, you do not have to have the same kind of red lipstick. It's whatever red lipstick looks better on your complexion. So like all these like different skin colors. It's whatever complements your skin color. Red.
Yeah.
So
it makes you pop
there's
best.
not just like I don't even know, L'Oreal 55 red bottom. You know, like
right. Red bottom.
bottom heels.
Apple bottom jeans. R22.
So that was an interesting fact.
Yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm. But then that brings us to the 90s. Yeah,
and don't you know a Rockette that was Rocketting in the 90s?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. A former coworker of mine, and I would even say she was a mentor of mine in terms of my development as a dance teacher. Mm-hmm. And I was always very proud. She was a Rockette, and I'm going to let her take it away.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Here's a nice voice memo that she left us, and we're going to play it right now for you.
Yeah.
My name is Mary McCatty. I performed at the Radio City Music Hall as a Radio City Rockette from 1992 to 1999. I auditioned one year for the Rockettes, and they told me I was on the list for the next group to be hired. The next year, I decided to audition for the New Yorkers, which are the dancing and singing ensemble in the Christmas show. I was down to the end and got a call shortly after, but they didn't ask me to be a New Yorker. They asked me to be a Radio City Rockette. I did Christmas spectaculars, Easter shows, movie premieres, all at the music hall, as well as special events across the country and many cold Thanksgiving Day parades. I loved my time as a Rockette, and it was a lot of work. During Christmas, I would do 4 to 6 shows a day, so at the height of the season, 28 shows a week. A few of those years I was in college, taking an 8 a.m. class 2 times a week. It was exhausting, but worth it. It was exciting to perform at the music hall, but what I hold dearest are my best friends I made, and still today we are very tight. Our kids know each other. We share the good and challenging parts of life. This year, we celebrated 100 years of the Radio City Rockettes. It's amazing to be a part of this legacy. Radio City invited Rockettes to a cocktail party where around 500 of us attended. Several of the dancers are now in their 90s. And then, along with our family and friends, we were invited to a special performance. There are still 3 numbers in the show that I did. 2 of them, I was part of putting them into the show, the doll number and the Santa number. It's always special being first. Although I've done many things, Broadway, national and international tours, TV specials, being a Rockette always holds a special place in my heart. Once a Rockette, always a Rockette.
Yeah.
That's the ending.
So, yeah, once a Rockette, always a Rockette. And so, one thing, I feel like you and I just casually were talking about the Christmas Spectacular, and you were saying, like, oh, the one thing I remember is the Santa performance, like the Santa.
Yeah, where all the Santas come out.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you think that it's a million Santas because it's the mirrors.
Yeah. Which is funny, though, because when you see it now, instead of having a mirror, they have, like, a computer-generated
screen.
But I think it's so cool to know that she was part of that first generation of Rockettes who even performed that number.
Well, there's a few things that she said that were interesting. One of them that she was saying how a lot of the Rockettes, when she went to the 100 years, are like well into their 90s. So if you look, like, because like when I forgot who you mentioned, where it was the first African American, Jennifer Jones. Mm-hmm. I just looked her up because I wanted to know what she looked like. She looks gorgeous. She must be in her 50s or 60s now, but she was gorgeous. And all these other people are so fit in their 70s, 80s.
Oh yeah,
literal yeah.
Mary McCatty's always taking dance classes still. Uh-huh. She's always taking ballet classes. She's always in shape.
I think they even I looked it up, and one of the oldest Rockettes to this day is 105 or something.
That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
They say dance is the fountain of youth. I mean,
yeah, it might be.
Keep dancing.
And then she also so to your point where you're saying that she was a part of these newer dances.
Yeah.
So what I found interesting in the documentary about the 100 years was one of the directors or choreographers was saying that, they start preparing for next year's show during this year's show and thinking like what works, what doesn't work. And I didn't know that they come up with new stuff.
Oh, like new dances?
Yeah. Like I was like, they just repeat the same things. But no, that's not true. They like have like a different dances that they come up with.
Yeah, I think what they like, according to what she was saying and how 3 of the dances that she performed in the 90s is still being performed today.
Right,
it's
a
like
mix the first of their kind of that. Yeah.
Right, and it's the mix of tradition with newer stuff. So they got to keep the audiences coming back for more. So they have that tradition, but then they sprinkle in some new stuff just to kind of keep you on your toes and to keep you invested and excited.
But didn't you go, so she was saying how she got to come back for the 100 years. Didn't you go to the show?
Yeah, so that's funny. So the New York City Public Schools has like a dance department, and every now and then they'll contact teachers who work in the public schools and be like, hey, we have free tickets to this show. And they randomly emailed me for the Christmas Spectacular, and it was something that was like invite only event, and they asked if I wanted tickets, and I was like, put me down for 4. And then like 2 seconds later they were like, they're sold out, sorry, stop requesting them. And so like I just made it in terms of being able to go.
Okay.
So we're there, and I didn't know it was like a 100-year tribute performance. So I'm sitting up there and I'm watching the show, and I was like, I bet you Mary McCatty's here, the Rockette, my former the woman you just heard from. And I was like, I bet you she's here. Let me send her like a quick text. And I was like, you have to be here. And she was like, yeah, I'm here. Say hi to me in the lobby. And I got to see her after. I took a quick picture with her.
Very cool.
Looking glamorous and as great as ever. But yeah, I just felt like really honored to have had her as a mentor and like talk about precision and like perfection in a lot of ways. She's that way, not only with her dancing, but just in training me. Like she trained me in this really specific teaching approach, and I remember her being just so precise with like feedback and how you could do this better. And I think that precision and that wherewithal you have to do something like precision dancing is like a whole personality thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it kind of follows you in ways that isn't just like athletic or physical, but like mental as well. And seeing the Rockettes, because the last time I saw them, I must have been like 12.
Yeah, when
so
everyone does, right? Like
24 years later, I see them, and I was just so enamored by like the precision, like the exact placement of their fingers, their wrists, like exactly how high their arms are
watch
angled.
Where you're putting that arm.
No, I know I'm gonna knock something off behind me.
I was, well, when you were talking about going, like in my head, I was like, oh, you're going to see that, you're going to go see that. And like being a New Yorker, you just like kind of skip it because you saw when you were 12.
Done that.
But I think also like what we see all the time is like them at the Thanksgiving Day Parade and them on like TV, and everything's on the TV. What I'm trying to say is it's probably so much better seeing it in person, but you think you see it because it's on TV, but then you see it in person, you're like, that's not this is so much better.
It was just a reminder of how hard it is, like how difficult the thing they do is, and like witnessing it and seeing it happen, you're just like, wow, that's amazing. And I think there's this focus on the bigger picture and like the attention to detail. Because arguably some of the things they do as a dancer, you could be pretty bored doing. Like some of the choreography they do is just walking very slowly in a circle. Like almost like, what do you call, like an army drill,
it's like your
whatever.
Publable people.
Publabolists?
Yeah.
No, they're different. They're a whole other different category.
No, but remember they were like going really slow walking.
Yeah.
Like that, like just that kind of patience. That's what I mean.
Right, exactly. The type of patience. And it's like, I think it takes a lot of like mental patience, mental discipline to be like, it is so important that I walk exactly like this because I'm part of a bigger picture here. Like this is not just about me. This is about the sisterhood. This is about the bigger picture. So I think it's very symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
And from like, I used to be I still choreograph, but I remember always finding it very hard to try and like get people to move the same way, exactly the same. And it's a whole operation to get this done.
When I was younger, my sister was into competitive dance.
Yeah.
And my mom tried to put me in. I was like 5, and at 5 I was like, this is cutting into my social life, and like I made it like a season. So I was like not into the competitive dance, but my sister was, and she did it for 18 plus years.
Yeah.
And even though I wasn't into it, I had to get dragged to all the dance shows. So like there was like 9-year-old me at like a very, very local level competition being like, can you do better? Like, you can't all synchronize, you know? Like,
your arm's a little bit lower than hers. You gotta fix that.
But not at the Rockettes.
Oh my God. It was so funny because it actually it's funny you brought up your sister. There was one day you and I went to a Knicks game and we were watching like the Knicks dancers perform. And at the end of the game, we were outside like near the garden. And I was like, record me. I'm going to try and do a Knicks dancer dance. And I'm like doing it. And like you said it to your sister, and you're like, doesn't she look really good? And your sister was like, no. Her wrist is going down. It's not in line with her elbow. Her fingers are all over the place. And like your sister's right. Like I know as a dancer, like I'm floppy. I could not do what these Rockettes could do. Like it's amazing.
I was very blown away about how long people are Rockettes. I thought it was like 1 year, but they're like Rockettes for like 7 to 10 years, which makes sense, I guess. So I
like
thought
Mary
that was interesting.
was for 7 years.
7 years. The longest Rockette, oh my goodness, in modern history was Tara Tubridy, I think her name is. She was a Rockette for 19 seasons. She just stopped being a Rockette like this year. Last year she did like a whole expo day. She was pregnant one time when she was doing it. And it's intense. Like they start in September for like a 6-week like intense rehearsal, and then you start the season, which is like 4 shows a day.
Wow.
So I thought that was really crazy. She was like almost a Rockette for 20 years. And if you're curious about how much a Rockette makes, they make about $125,000 a season.
A season?
Yeah, so like September to beginning of January.
Hey, that's not a bad gig.
I mean, it still seems like not enough.
Well, just for 4 months.
Yeah, but like you're performing a lot. You're like, that's a lot intensive on your body.
But nothing.
I always advocate for more money.
Like, I know. Okay. But nothing's stopping them from getting other seasonal work.
No, they
outside
do.
of that time.
Jobs,
yeah. But even if you didn't want to, you could kind of chill off of.
Yeah, I know. It just seems like they should get paid more.
Could live in an outer borough. I know. We always got to advocate for the ladies to make more. But if you're interested in getting some training with them, they did. They presented a dance training program from 2002 to 2019, but now like they have their own, so it's under their own umbrella. And part of that goal is to gain more diversity as well, and to like reach out to more dancers.
I think they're doing the work. They're doing the work for diversity. And to your point with that, to kind of like get more diversity and like and be more inclusive, they do that incentive. They do pay for your room and board, so it's not like you have to live in New York. If you come here from another state, they'll pay for your room and board. They pay for your shoes. They cover a lot of the costs for being a part of that.
Nice.
So this is very interesting. Yeah.
Talking about shoes, fun fact: did you know they put microphones in their tap shoes to amplify the sound?
I didn't know that.
And it like they sound good.
Yeah.
You know. Very cool. Final thing that I wanted to say in the same light as going back to diversity, which has been like a topic that just keeps popping up. In 2019, they hired Sydney Mesher, who is the first dancer with a physical disability. She actually is missing her left hand, but like because of how uniform they look, they were like, screw it. Like if you're a beautiful dancer and you could get that precision down, it's okay if you have a physical disability.
But
like
not
we could
if
overlook that.
Not if you're 5'3".
No, not that.
Yeah, not that though.
Yes, as long as you're 5'6",
and
they'll take you.
And have no arm, you're fine.
Well, she's just missing a hand. Yeah, because I think it would be like when it's so far away. Yeah. 5'2", sorry, honey, you're not making the cut. You got to be 5'6". That's it.
But I like to like kind of round it out. I think it's really interesting, and your friend said it too, about how close these people get to each other, and they like to, say sisterhood a lot. And why do you think that is? Because they have to be so close to each other?
Yeah, I mean,
you're forced to be friends.
Right, or like you just kind of have to go through, you don't even have to be friends. Like some sisters don't get along, The idea is that like this is for the greater good. We're working for each other, being part of this legacy, knowing that there were female advocates for Rockettes in the past. And they're like, I just feel like there's a sense of always looking out for each other and always thinking about the bigger picture, which is like what that sisterhood is. And like female empowerment and being like,
yeah, I love that.
We are a force and we are here and we've been here for 100 years and to 100 more.
You are throwing out the word we a lot.
Well, I'm pretending to be them.
Okay. All right, got it.
I was never a Rockette, as you
She's
didn't
like, me
know.
and my sisters who...
I was like, quote, what they would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a Rockette would say, we.
I see it. I hear it. I respect
crystallizing it.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay. But, yeah, just wanted to make sure we gave them their props.
Yeah.
For 100 years of Rockettes. And I'm really excited for the new year.
Yeah, Happy New Year and...
Onwards and upwards. Onwards and upwards.
Yes.
Keep kicking.
Keep on kicking, and we'll be kicking into 2026.
Yeah, kick on into the new year.
That's it.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.